You didn't expect to be fired at 60. Most people don't. But here you are in a position where you don't have work and you can't afford to retire. You've worked out your finances and you need to find more work. You can't retire just yet. But it's okay. It doesn't mean the end of the world. I've been through it a few times in the last 3 years. So today I'm going to share with you 5 little pieces of advice that helped me and is based on my experience over those past 3 years. Welcome to my channel, The Not Retired Life. My name's Leanne, and if this is your first time here, then welcome. So today I'm going to start with number 1, my number 1 little piece of advice, and that is to just pause. Just take some time out. When it happens to you, just pause for a while and restock. Usually we get some sort of severance pay. If you've been made redundant, there's redundancy payout, which can be quite significant based on how long you've been in the company for. So I would, if you can, just take maybe a week or 2 just to absorb what's happened. At first, it can feel quite surreal that it's happened to you. So you just need to just take stock of the whole situation. Work out your finances for the coming weeks, because it might take a while to find another job. So you need to just see if you've got enough coverage financially for that. If you don't, then you would have to be going to, going off to Centrelink. Here in Australia, it's Centrelink, and maybe getting a little bit of support from JobSeeker while you go off and enter the job market again and find more work. But I would definitely suggest taking a little bit of time out to just relax, and just in that time you can just download to friends and family, go for walks and do what you need to, you have to do for a bit of self-care, because it can be quite, people can get a little bit depressed and a bit sort of anxious about what to do next and what the future holds. But it's usually, I find, and with me from my experience, I end up on a better path. So don't feel too daunted by it all. You can do this. And even if you haven't had to be out on that job market for a while, you can do this. So take a pause, take some time out, work out your finances, and have a little think about what you might want to do next. So that's number 1, have a pause, time out. Number 2, pull out your resume. Might have been sitting somewhere in a cupboard for ages. You may not have one anymore. You might have to start from scratch. But I would start just jotting down everything, all of your experience, your skills. It's amazing how many skills we leave out. If you really sit down and brainstorm, you'd be surprised at how much experience you have and all the skills that come into the position that you've been doing, regardless of what that is. So you need to really sit down and don't underestimate yourself with that either, because I sort of find that some people do, but it's just incredible. Like even just you've got great emotional IQ, or you're really good at leadership or mentoring or whatever that may be. We have a lot more skills than what we realize if we really sit down and think about it. If the resume side of things is putting you off because you might feel that you're not articulate enough, or you're not experienced enough to write a resume, then there are things out there that can help you. For example, AI, ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT for so many things, and that's how people are entering the workforce now. It's just a normal thing, and most people I know will get ChatGPT to do their cover letter and their resume. So if you haven't worked with any sort of AI stuff before, then I would download the ChatGPT app, and I'll go through ChatGPT in a later video and get into more detail with what it can do and just how powerful it is and what you can use it for. But at the moment, I'm just talking about resumes. So if you sort of type into ChatGPT, for example, if you've got an old resume, you can upload it to ChatGPT and you can ask it to make it more polished. You can say, hey, ChatGPT, I'm going for a job as a car salesperson. Please make my resume more professional with what I've written. And it will. And it takes literally seconds, and it will go through it all, and it will put something up that is just so polished and really professional. So don't be afraid of looking to AI to do that. And the same with your cover letter as well. And if it comes back and you think that, oh, look, that's just not me, the way that's written, it's maybe too at a higher level professionally, you can ask ChatGPT to personalise it a bit more or tone it down a little bit. And so there's just so many things you can ask it to do. But I would definitely lean on AI to help you with this, especially if you haven't done it before or you don't feel confident to do your own resume or cover letter. Back in the day, you could pay people to do that for you, do a really wonderful polished resume. But these days with AI, I think their jobs are on the line because you don't need those people anymore to help you because AI can do all of that for you. The thing that I would look into is, and you can ask AI this, ChatGPT this as well, is what's the style of resumes these days? Because I think that, especially if you haven't applied for a job for a while, then the formatting of that has changed. And lots of people add their photo to their resume. I do when I go for a job. You don't have to do that. I don't put in hobbies or anything. Like I remember years ago we had hobbies and interests and all that kind of stuff. You can still do that if you want a more personalised resume, but it's up to you. There's no real right or wrong. And I think that for me, the most important thing is getting your cover letter right. I think you have to have a really attention-grabbing cover letter to make the employer want to then look at your resume and look at your skills. I think a cover letter is very important, so don't underestimate the power of a cover letter. But yeah, use ChatGPT to help you do that. And if you haven't, as I said, if you haven't used it before, then just have a play around with it. Download the app onto your phone and just have a little play around and ask questions. You'll be amazed at what it can do. So don't be afraid of doing that, but get your resume up to scratch and just start preparing and getting it ready. So that's my number 2 piece of advice. Number 3, and this is the exciting part, I guess, is to start applying for jobs. So I would have a think about what you want to do. You may have hated your previous job. You may have not liked the people you work with. You may have been bored. So if that's the case, don't go back into that again. And you might sort of say, oh, but this is what I've been doing for the last 10 years. I don't know anything else. So, how am I going to get another job? And this is where in my previous point with resumes, is don't be afraid to sort of brainstorm and write down all of your skills, because a lot of those skills you'll find can cross over into a new position. And sometimes employers are looking for someone fresh, or they've just got that right attributes, even though they may not have had actual experience at that position. They can train them up, but they've got those skills, they've got the attributes that that the company is looking for. So don't be afraid to sort of do a little bit of a sidestep to apply for something new, and just don't. And I also suggest that you can apply for a job and get to the interview stage, and then you might think, I don't know if I will. I don't know if I want that job, so I might just pull out of that interview because I'm not feeling too sure about it, and there's something, I've applied for one that's better, and I'm just waiting to hear from them. I would still go for that interview because I think that it's good practice. It's really good practice. So don't not go for an interview because of that. It's just, I think the more practice you get, the better it is. So yeah, start applying for those jobs. Have a really good think about where you want to be, how many hours you want to do, the lifestyle and how that will fit in. You may have to take a little bit of a pay drop. If you can afford it, then and the work's not as stressful. All of those things come into it when you start applying for work. And just have a really good think. It's a good time to pivot, as I said. But yeah, just think about what you're wanting. Spend some time thinking about what you're wanting to do next. What path do you want to go on? And just, give it a really good thought, good sort of, consider it, I guess. So that's number 3. Number 4 is the interview, the dreaded interview. So this is where people get very nervous. I get nervous at interviews, but I can't stress enough that preparation is key. So once again, how do you present? Look at your wardrobe. How are you presenting? I practice like crazy before I go for interviews because I hate stumbling over the answers when people are asking me questions. So I spend so much time Googling and even AI, ChatGPT, and I practice with ChatGPT. So this is another thing with AI. You can ask ChatGPT to do a mock interview for you based on certain criteria and the type of work you're going for, and it will throw up questions for you to answer. So you can't practice enough. It's a really important thing for the interview, is to just go in feeling so confident because you've done a lot of that background. Don't just wing it. It's really hard to wing. And as soon as you stumble, your confidence will all of a sudden go, drop away. And then that's kind of the end of the interview type of thing. So practice those questions. They can throw behavioural questions at you, which I can't stand. I hate behavioural questions, but some people do that. So just really prepare yourself. What do you like? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years? Those usual standard questions. But think about ones that, I was asked, why should we employ you? Why do you think you're a good fit for this position? And I had to tell them why I thought it was a good fit. Why do you think you're the one that should get this job? And they will ask you that. So, be prepared for that. And the other thing is, as they say, research says that people will weigh you up in the first few seconds of meeting you. So be really aware of that. Be aware of your body language. Be aware of smiling, eye contact, shaking hands, walking in with confidence, and just really open happiness and a smile, because people really feel that energy. And it's okay to be nervous. I get nervous all the time, but if you know that you're prepared and you just take a few deep breaths before you go in, but the preparation, then most of the difficulties already gone because you have prepared and you're ready for that. So so that's number 4, the interview. Really, really important. And as I said previously, even if you've decided that maybe it's a job that you may not want, still go for the interview. It's such good practice. And I did the same thing. And it just gave me, the more I did that, the more confident I got with meeting strangers and new people and being asked questions and questions fired at me. So just enjoy the process and get your confidence up if you have to do that. So number 5 is final words. Drop the focus on your age. Stop thinking that your age is a barrier. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. There is discrimination out there. I truly believe it's in the minority though. That's just, and you might come back at me and say no, but that's my personal experience. And from what I can gather, a lot of companies do like older people. Why? Because 1, they've got loads of experience and skills that they can bring into the job. 2, they've got that maturity, an emotional IQ. 3, they have really good work ethic. And companies know this. They know that older people have really good work ethic and they have loyalty. So they're just a few things, and companies do look for that. And that's why people at our age are treasured within a company as well. So it's not all, they're too old. Of course, depending on the type of job it is, there is an age barrier or an age block because of the type of work involved. So therefore, yes, I agree, we would be too old for that. But in general, we bring to the table so much. And companies are really seeing that as an asset. So don't let that put you off. Don't think about your age. It's not your age. I have never let age hold me back with anything. And I've never thought about discrimination with age. So don't focus on that. Take your focus away from that. Look at all the positives that you have. And there are many. So don't look at it as being, if you're saying to me that you are putting 100 resumes in and you haven't even got to an interview stage, there is something wrong with your resume. You cannot put that many. And I haven't gotten to interview stages, and I've applied for jobs and haven't gotten to an interview stage. And I get the letter or the email saying, sorry, we had a number of fantastic applicants and, this time you didn't get through. So I have had that too, but I haven't had a ridiculous amount like some people say. So if you find that that's happening over and over and over and over, and you haven't got to that stage, then I would definitely be looking at your cover letter and your resume. What's happening there? What isn't grabbing them amongst all of those other applications? Maybe you're batting too high. I don't know. I've done that before, because I thought, why not? You just never know. But maybe you do need to rethink the jobs you're going for. Look at your resume, look at your cover letter. So my last job, I've been in a new position for 8-10 weeks now, and I was one amongst 150 applicants, and I'm 63. So don't let that hold you back, and just get back on the horse. You can do this. So I hope this has helped you. I am going to do some other videos based on ChatGPT and what you can do with that. And I've got another upcoming one about retirement villages and lifestyle villages, because I used to manage a retirement/lifestyle village. So I've got a lot of info about that for any of you out there who have been thinking about that and whether to make that move or not. So yeah, stay tuned, and I'll be back.